Yeah, October 7th was awful. Absolutely.
Obviously.
Terrible attack. But also, what they've done to Gaza is insane.
It's insane.
And if you can't see that, if you can't say that, and your response is, Israel has the right to defend itself. Like, what are you talking about? Against what? Children?
Right.
Against women and children that are getting blown apart? Against aid workers that are getting killed? It's insane.
Guess what, Ted? We're not following your orders. No one's following your orders anymore other than the coward, corrupt politicians and the coward, corrupt mainstream media. For the rest of us, no quarter given. And yes, I would love to have Benjamin Netanyahu on the Young Turks. We're very happy to give him a fair interview. Okay, come on this show.
In this video, Cenk, Uygur, and Kasparian of the Young Turks respond to Joe Rogan apparently refusing to have Benjamin Netanyahu on his show. And as you can tell, there's a fair amount of shouting. Cenk Uygur has sort of steered into that more, I think, recently as a selling point. His outrage is on full display. He says he'd have Netanyahu on their program. Let's check it out together. I'm going to let you come to your own conclusions.
Why do they say Israel's like starving the people of Gaza?
Well, because we're trying to get the food in, and we let food trucks in, and guess what happens when we let them in? Hamas steals the food, takes the good chunk for itself, then they jack up the prices, and then they sell the food to its population.
And no one wants to talk about it. And if you do talk about it, you're anti-Semitic, which is so strange. Like, I don't know how they wrangled that.
And now, thanks to Benjamin Netanyahu's eldest son, we've learned that Rogan allegedly refused to have Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on his podcast to essentially spew his lies and propaganda. And if this story is confirmed to be true, I commend Joe Rogan for having moral clarity on this. Now, Fox News posted a headline on X reading that Joe Rogan claims Hunter Biden could be president, insists he's more intelligent than most people think. And in response to that, Netanyahu's son, Yair Netanyahu, wrote this. Great wake-up call for conservatives to remember Joe Rogan is not a conservative. He gave platform to every single neo-Nazi anti-Semite on this plant. I guess he meant planet. But he refused to have my father on his show because he knows that he doesn't stand a chance against him. And all those years of anti-Semitic propaganda will go to waste. Is that why Netanyahu refuses interviews with people who actually know what they're talking about?
I think it's pretty rich that Yair Netanyahu accuses Joe Rogan of having a whole parade of anti-Israel people on when he showcased Donald Trump and let him spew all of those lies. I think, if anything, what we're seeing is Joe Rogan in the wake of that. And we don't know exactly how much influence that had, but the thinking is sort of that it did have an influence on certain demographics just so close to the election that Rogan went on and basically didn't give Trump any pushback and let him just paint this rosy picture of how he was going to be a great, nice guy. And here we are again. I don't know where these people were the first term, by the way, if they had just were too young to be paying attention to national politics or what, but I think it's kind of rich to accuse Joe Rogan. Anyway, I think he's maybe having a little regret over the role he played in that, and so maybe he's like, well, I'm not gonna let another liar come on here and bulldoze me. I don't know. We're all guessing.
We'll get to that in just a second, but Cenk, thoughts?
Okay, so first off, who the hell are you? You're not a citizen of this country. Oh, so the Nepo baby son of the terrorist Benjamin Netanyahu, who has killed 50 times the civilians of Hamas, 500 times the children that Hamas killed, would demand that Rogan sit down and be lectured to by the prime minister of a different government. Oh, are you demanding it? And are you calling him an anti-Semite because you think that'll work and that'll scare Rogan or any of us? Brother, you missed the memo. We don't give a crap anymore. We don't give a damn who you call an anti-Semite. That might work with your buddies in mainstream media who do your propaganda and who run scared of little bitches like you. But you and your terrorist father will be given no quarters by any real media in this country. I'm not talking about the Nelk Boys milking Netanyahu on camera. I'm not talking about mainstream media who will ask him, oh, can you please tell us who the anti-Semites are so we could fire them for opposing a genocide? I mean, you're only starving children to death, right? But beloved Israel, how much more money can we give you? Hey, Yair, or whatever your stupid name is, okay? We don't owe you anything. Israel has taken over $300 billion from America. You owe us. Where's my $300 billion? I want it back. You're using our money to starve children to death and have killed 59,000 at a bare minimum, 20,000 children at a bare minimum? And you think you could order us around? Hey, Rogan, sit down and be lectured to. And I'm sure Theo Vaughn, Tim Dillon, all of us, right? Oh, we are the great Israelis, and you must follow our orders.
Look, I don't disagree with Anna Kasparian and Cenk Uygur's sentiments regarding what's going on in Israel, but let's look at it like numerically for a second. And I've done my own research. This is not my graphic here. It's something that I found on Instagram. I did my own searches. These numbers come up differently for me, but they're certainly in the ballpark. The number that we've given to Israel is closer at this point to 350 billion. And these numbers, the homelessness, the hunger, education, those are annual numbers. So that's per year. But certainly it gives you some sense of perspective in terms of where, and I'm not saying that aid to foreign countries is a bad idea. I'm not an isolationist. I am simply saying that there's something in between, right? I think it's where you dial the dial in between, and we have prioritized funding Israel in this conflict to such a degree that if you look at it in terms of putting money towards stuff at home, we're giving a lot of money to Israel, a lot. Another statistic I saw was that America has paid for like 70% of that conflict. And it's a conflict that most Americans are very strongly against. We see the pictures of these starving kids in Gaza, and it's like,
guess what, Ted? We're not following your orders. No one's following your orders anymore other than the coward, corrupt politicians and the coward, corrupt mainstream media. For the rest of us, no quarter given. And yes, I would love to have Benjamin Netanyahu on the Young Turks. We're very happy to give him a fair interview. Okay, come on this show and be a real interview, okay? But if you want to go on and get milked by a bunch of weak soy boys, that's up to you, man. Okay, but none of us men and women of character and moral integrity are interested in your terrorist propaganda.
Now, the Nelk Boys were not as discerning as Joe Rogan is, and did host Benjamin Netanyahu on their platform, where he proceeded to engage in the same lies and propaganda that you would expect from a war criminal. And if you didn't manage to catch any of that, here is a snippet from the Full Send podcast.
Why do they say Israel's like starving the people of Gaza?
Well, because we're trying to get the food in, and we let food trucks in, and guess what happens when we let them in? Hamas steals the food, takes the good chunk for itself, then they jack up the prices, and then they sell the food to its population, to its hungry population, if they give them at all, and then use the money that they take from their own people to recruit more killers into their terror machine.
Why do they say that?
So annoying, that kid. You know what's really remarkable to me about Netanyahu and a lot of the people of the Israeli propagandists is how reasonable they can seem, right? How plausible they can make this narrative sound. It's like, well, look, we're angels. We drop flyers like no military in the history of the world has bent over backwards to protect the civilian population of this. Hamas, these horrible people. We love Palestinians. We love Palestinian kids. We send 100 million meals in there every day, and Hamas snatches them up and won't give them to their own people. And it's just night is day, up is down. We see the pictures, Israeli soldiers targeting kids, shooting, blowing up hospitals, aid workers. look at Google aerial photos of Gaza. And so, no, but guys, we're the warm and fuzzy. Like, we don't want to hurt anybody. We're just trying to make sure that they can come back. We just want to get them out of harm's way. Then they can all come back to the Gaza that we have literally leveled into rubble. It's really something. And, I don't want to put myself in the position of defending Joe Rogan, but I agree that not having Netanyahu on was the right choice for Joe Rogan because he's not a journalist. I would think it was kind of entertaining to see Cenk Uygur interview Netanyahu. I'd like to see if he brings that fire and brimstone. Netanyahu will never do it. I'm going to go make a cup of tea, but I want you to let me know what you think in the comments.